Okay, so we start immediately with our guy who just recently left the ranks of college basketball, one Obi Toppin, Wooten Award winner. How do you think his game will translate to the NBA? We cannot wait to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait either, Monica. First of all, he's a young man who plays the game with joy. New York's going to love him because he's one of their own, growing up in Brooklyn and being raised up in Westchester. And he's got the versatility offensively to be a very good NBA player. People complain about the defense a little bit, but we always complain about top draft picks defense. And that will be handled very quickly in training camp by one Mr. Thibodeau. But Obi's a great young man. I think New York is going to embrace him, and he's a super talent. And in this draft, 8 could be as good as 1 when we look back on this draft 5 years from now. So I think the Knicks were fortunate.
Yeah, I think you made a lot of Knicks fans really happy with that analysis right there. But the Knicks didn't only just have him in the first round. They also had a guard by the name of Immanuel Quickley, Kentucky Wildcat. Kind of a wild card as well, kind of an off-guard point guard. You've seen a lot of him in college. Give me your thoughts on what Knicks fans can expect from the rookie this season.
Well, listen, Leon Rose is if he's trying to arrange an all-Kentucky New York Knicks roster, this kid's a good start. But I would also look at Anthony Davis in free agency. That's another story. But
hey, he still hasn't signed. You never know. He still hasn't signed.
No. But Immanuel, here's what he is, Kaz. He's an outstanding shooter, and it's repeatable. It's not a shot that goes in sometimes. If he's open, he's going to make shots. He's got good size. He's not a super athlete the way you would think of some of those, like a Kevin Knox, for example, who we all love his athleticism, but this kid is a really skilled guard. He's mature. He plays hard. He'll defend. And to get him in the second round, to me, was a really nice addition to the Knicks. We know how important shooting is in the NBA. I would say this kid is going to be a good piece of the puzzle someday.
Fran, Kaz mentioned it, though. I just want to follow up there a little bit. Tweener is not quite the right word. Do you see him playing point guard in the NBA? Okay.
Not on a regular basis, Monica. I mean, I don't think he's a playmaking type of guard. What his specialty is, he's got good size. He'll defend. But most importantly, if you leave him open, he will make open shots. So can he develop into a guy that can play point guard sometimes? Maybe. But remember, he played on a 3-guard offense at Kentucky with Higgins and my man Tyrese Maxey from here in Dallas. He didn't have to handle the ball much, but that's okay because what you're paying him to do is make shots.
100%. Always a spot on the floor for a shooter.
That is absolutely correct. And speaking of which, man, we're training camp starting today. A lot of these rookies are getting their first taste of NBA action at the top of the draft. You got James Wiseman in Golden State, LaMelo Ball in Charlotte. You got Anthony Edwards in Minnesota. The top of that draft. How do you see that shaking out for a lot of these rookies? Who's going to have the most impact on day one when it comes to the top of this 2020 NBA draft?
Well, I think the two of the guys at the top, Kaz, certainly James Wiseman should have an impact simply because the Warriors have to play him. It's Kevon Looney and James Wiseman. And the reason the Warriors love this kid is they were hoping that Clay would be back and the 3 Hall of Famers, if you want to put Draymond in that category, near Hall of Famer, this kid would have been ideal for them. They stretch the floor, they play make, they get where they want to go on the court, and it really would have opened up the game for James Wiseman, rolling to the rim, catching lobs, getting out in transition, and his specialty, defending at the rim. So I think he's going to have a big impact. I also think Lonzo will have an impact from this standpoint. Michael Jordan drafted him to give him the ball. They've got P.J. Washington. Now they've got Gordon Hayward. You throw in Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier, and I think Lonzo's going to have an impact. But I'm hoping and hoping that the guy that has the most impact, I have a son that works on the Orlando Magic coaching staff, so I want to see Cole Anthony do his thing for the Orlando Magic this year, a New York born and bred guy who is probably going to walk into training camp and to the season with a little chip on his shoulder because he was drafted 15th. And a year ago, we thought this kid might be high top end of the lottery.
We don't want to talk about a year ago how the Tar Heels looked. But anyway, Cole Anthony is set to start the next chapter of his career. Let's jump, Fran, into this current season. We saw Duke last night, Michigan State, Oklahoma State, Cade Cunningham on the floor. In particular, Cade Cunningham, Zaire Williams, those are names that are sort of highlighting this freshman class in college basketball. How good are those guys?
Well, you're speaking to the right guy, because I called Cade Cunningham's first college game last week, and in here in Dallas against Texas Arlington. It was a game designed to get Cade and 5 of his Dallas teammates home. He's a really special talent, guys, because he's 6'7". He can play point guard. He can really play anywhere, to be honest with you. And what he is he's a very unselfish star. And I think it's going to bode well in the NBA. He's not super quick or, super dynamic like a Zion Williamson athletically. But this kid sees the game a play ahead. He's very conscious of getting his teammates involved. When he has to take over, he will. And I was really impressed with him. Of course, I've been watching him since his freshman year of high school, and he's got the it factor, no doubt about it. Zaire Williams, a kid that has impressed me the last couple of days. Boy, he's smooth as silk. He's athletic. He can shoot the ball. He plays with confidence. Little on the thin side, but as you guys know, guys like Zaire Williams will go in a top 10, and you may have to wait a couple of years for him to physically develop. There's no question the talent is there. He's got everything that you need to be an NBA wing scorer and a star someday.
Yeah, watched a lot of Cade Cunningham in high school. Those Montverde teams are some of the best high school teams I've ever seen in my entire life. And that dude's going to make a lot of money in a year. Switching gears a little bit, man, we are in, let's talk local, okay? Like Seton Hall, St. John's, Syracuse, Rutgers. I mean, who is the best local college team right now? Which team in the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area might make some noise in the NCAA tournament bubble if it's still going on, if we still got it going by March or April? Who has the best shot of being in there?
Let's hope so, Kaz. Let's hope so, man. I don't want to be one of those guys that's sitting in my recliner at home doing nothing. But no, I never thought this would come out of my mouth 5 years ago, but I would say the best local team is Rutgers. Steve Peichel's done an amazing job there. And a lot of us who followed his career as a player and then at Stony Brook out on Long Island, I was not surprised, A, that Rutgers hired him, and B, that he's done a great job. He's a blue-collar guy. He's a hard-hat guy. And he's got kids on that team, Geo Baker, who's out right now, Ron Harper Jr. They've got a really good nucleus that was going to be an NCAA tournament team last March 11th when pandemic struck us, but I love them. I just saw Seton Hall. They're going to be highly competitive. The residue of success that Miles Powell left behind is certainly still there in South Orange. They've got to get Bryce Aiken, the Harvard transfer, healthy, but I really like them. And then St. John's, I've known Mike Anderson a long time, and what he's going to do is he's going to bring that same blue-collar mentality to Jamaica. It's got young guys, a couple precocious freshmen. Posh Alexander, a Brooklyn kid, is going to be very good. I like where they're going, and I can't not throw in my Manhattan Jaspers. You see that stuff over my shoulder? That's Manhattan and St. John's right there. So I got to throw a shout out to Steve Maciel and a good young Manhattan team this year.
All right,
Fran, when you wake up with us, you're getting all your shout-outs.
I'm the master of the shameless plug, Monica.
Hey, and I learned from you, Sensei. I support it. Okay, so once upon a time, you were responsible for scheduling. We know how odd this year is, Fran. We literally can hop on Twitter and insert your favorite college coach saying, hey, we have an opening. Can anyone play? How big of a deal is the uncertainty surrounding this year? Because from a coaching perspective, player perspective, and even you on the analyst side, like I know I'm getting game assignments 4 days out.
Oh yeah, no question. It's an unusual year, but we're in an unusual time. And the one thing I've always told young coaches, especially young head coaches, is your number one job description is crisis management coordinator. It's not recruiting. It's not the coaching, the X and O's. It's how you handle adversity. And we're all going through that time in our lives right now. No one's ever seen a pandemic like this in our lifetime. So in the sports world and in college basketball particularly, you got to be able to go with the flow. We got to keep our student athletes healthy, We got to keep our staffs healthy. If and when there are fans in the building, we got to keep them healthy. And in the meantime, from a basketball standpoint, we got to be flexible and adjust and play games when we can and do the best we can in this crazy time. I hope by early April we crown an NCAA champion, which I hope we will. But in the meantime, we all just got to keep our fingers crossed on a day-to-day basis, stay safe, and enjoy every bit of basketball we get to see.